Top 10 Toxic Relationships on Dr. Phil. Many couples and families go to the Dr. Phil show for different reasons, and in this video we've compiled a list of the most toxic relationships. Let us know what you do if you were in such situations after viewing the video. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. Let's get it going. 10. Dustin and Marcia. Dustin insisted on divorcing his wife Marcia, but she was still holding on to the relationship. He, however, wanted to live with Marcia and co-parent their daughter after the divorce. Marcia believed that Dustin was a womanizer and an alcoholic, but Dustin denied the claims and said that he talked to people because he was a social person and loved to hang out with his friends. He said that she wouldn't accept the divorce because it wasn't her idea. Marcia denied the allegations, and she still wouldn't leave her husband of 2.5 years. She had a list of allegations of some of the lies and probable affairs, which included dating profiles, transactions, and graphic photos. The big question was, why wasn't Marcia serving Dustin with divorce papers after coming across all the evidence? Well, she said that she was old school and hoped that her marriage would work out. Marcia believed that her husband would stop drinking and getting involved with younger women. You don't have to be a child to behave like one, and the next couple on the show was a perfect example. 9. Chance and Lorraine. When Chance and Lorraine first met, they were inseparable. Their love for each other grew more profound and they got married. But as soon as their honeymoon ended, their marriage also ended. 2 months into their marriage, Chance joined a motorcycle club and he became controlling. Lorraine also became aggressive and their relationship gradually became toxic. She claimed that after they got married, Chance told her to quit her job. He gave Lorraine a credit card but took it back after 1 month. The police got involved in their business countless times, but Chance stated that every time he went to jail, it was because he was defending himself. Lorraine's mother believed that they were both acting like spoiled brats and needed to grow up. Naturally, a mother would side with her daughter, but in that situation, she needed to tell her daughter the truth. Lorraine's mother told them that they were not ready to have any kids because they were behaving like children, and she'd asked her daughter before to walk away, but she wouldn't listen. It's okay to have standards and rules in a relationship, but some expectations are way out of this world. 8. Josh and Rebecca. Rebecca described her boyfriend as a controlling narcissist who had insane expectations in their relationship. He thought that she should have a cooking schedule and even told Rebecca how she was supposed to clean the house. Josh said that Rebecca shouldn't sleep when their daughter was asleep. She should use that time to take care of toiletries and make inventory of the house. He expected a meal every day when he went home, and Rebecca's me time should be when she went out to the store. Dr. Phil made a list of other expectations and they were just insane. Rebecca couldn't have friends. She wasted money on makeup. She used too much electricity while doing her hair. Becca couldn't see her parents. She couldn't leave the house. She had no allowance, and they only had sex when Josh wanted to. According to Josh, he wasn't controlling. He was merely suggesting ways he thought they would make their relationship better. It may not be an easy decision to walk away from marriage, but when everything doesn't work for many years, it may be time to walk away. 7. Charles and Sally. Charles and Sally were married for 12 years, but it was 12 years of hell. Charles accused Sally of being a manipulative liar who was dating other men, a claim which Sally didn't deny. She tried to find a way out of the relationship, but Charles was still trying to keep it together. Sally had left Charles 19 times, but he took her back every time. If she had to rate her marriage on a scale of 1 to 10, she'd say -3. And Charles' rating for the marriage was a 2 or a 3. Sally said that Charles was psychologically controlling, and after 12 years of trying, she wanted to leave the relationship. Charles, however, didn't want to end the marriage, even though he said Sally was mean and manipulative. To make matters worse, the other man Sally was dating was also on the show, and he wasn't very kind. Dr. Phil asked him to leave the stage because he was mocking the situation and laughed when Charles was expressing his frustrations. Money is essential in every relationship, and it could easily make or break any union. 6. Bob and Carol. Bob thought his wife was a gold digger when she started spending a lot of money. She'd buy a $150 pair of jeans, and she'd spend at least $1,000 in a day. Bob tried to cut her off, but it always ended up in a nasty argument. Bob said that he was too old for all the pressure, but he allowed Carol to treat him like a victim. Bob had an accident and received a $1 million settlement, which he said his wife squandered. Carol, on the other hand, thought that Bob was abusive and mean, and if he didn't stop calling her names, she'd leave the relationship. She said they equally spent money on different things, and by the time they went to the show, they had nothing left. Before the money, the relationship was still rocky, and the two would argue and fight in front of the children. When money came along, it took care of some of their problems, and for a while, they were peaceful, but eventually went back to the fighting and the arguing. Some countries around the world prefer marrying within their bloodline, but couples fail to understand that genetic consequences could be dire. 5. Angie and Michael. Angie and Michael grew up together and attended the same school. When they were in second grade, they knew there was a connection between them. When they were 10, they got in trouble after they were found kissing. It wouldn't be a big deal if they weren't first cousins. The families tried to keep them apart, and eventually they ended up marrying other people. Later in life, they reconnected and divorced their spouses to marry each other. Angie and Michael did their research and got married in a state where marriage between first cousins was legalized. They got married in Colorado, but they were in danger of being arrested because they lived in Utah, and the state didn't allow marriage between first cousins. They said that they didn't intend to go public, but they needed to garner support from other people because the world is evolving and such things shouldn't be an issue. Michael said that 60 years ago, interracial marriage was a problem, but now it's accepted, meaning that people would eventually understand their union. I guess he did kinda have a point, but it's not going to happen soon since it's insane to marry a first cousin. If you thought the relationship between the two cousins was weird, the next one will totally shock you. 4. Laurie and John. Laurie said that her husband and her family should give her a break with regards to the relationship between her and her son. When she was 15, she gave birth to her son, John, and immediately gave him up for adoption. The arrangement was open because she'd received lots of pictures and letters, but Laurie never got any visitation rights. Years later, her son located her on social media and they started communicating and reconnected. They'd hug, kiss, and cuddle on the couch, and everyone thought it was weird, disgusting, and creepy. The adoptive family was against their meeting because John had a disability problem and they were afraid Laurie would take him away from them. 6 months after Laurie and John met, John moved into her home and added her husband's name to his. John's disability also involved biting and choking, and Dan was scared that the relationship between his wife was not only creepy, but dangerous too. 3. Ryan and Danielle. Ryan was filing for a divorce because of the stated reasons, but Danielle claims that her husband was making up stories to keep her daughter away from her. Ryan said that Danielle was always angry, and to buy more time in the marriage, he allowed her to become a sugar baby. Insane. Danielle had a one-night affair with another man, and Ryan said it was a deal breaker and threatened her with a divorce. He'd forgotten that Danielle used money from sugar babying to pay for their trip to Jamaica and offset all their financial debts. Danielle agreed that she cheated on Ryan once, but she didn't appreciate how he suggested that she was a terrible mother in the divorce papers. They both agreed that their marriage was moving backward and they were no longer attracted to each other, and the only thing they could agree on is that they both loved their daughter. The next story is about a man who tried to be supportive and help his wife through her past, but she couldn't stop being unfaithful. 2. Dan and Angela. Angela didn't refute that she had multiple affairs, but she hated the fact that her husband painted her in a bad picture in front of her daughters. When they were 5 and 6, Dan told them that their mom was having an affair and they grew up disliking her. The girls would call Angela names and tell their father to leave her. Dr. Phil agreed that whatever Angela did to Dan was inappropriate, but what Dan did was also unnecessary. He didn't need to drag the children into their mess, even though he feared that they'd end up like their mother. However, Angela was also wrong to post about her affairs on social media, and Dr. Phil wanted to understand why she rubbed it in her husband's face. She said that she was abused as a child and she was trying to work things out and forgive the people who hurt her, and clearly she was not doing a good job. Sometimes it takes callous words from someone like Dr. Phil to help a victim understand that they are in a toxic relationship. I saved the best for last, but first I have a quick challenge that takes only 5 seconds to complete. So if you can leave a like and subscribe within the next 5 seconds, you'll get 10 years of amazing luck. Just try it. It really works. 1. Richard and Jordan. Richard admitted that when he got angry, he turned into an animal. He physically, emotionally, and mentally abused Jordan, but she always stayed with him and thought she'd fix him. When Richard got tired of using his hands on Jordan, he'd use his legs until she was almost lifeless. One time he tried to drown Jordan because he thought she looked at his cousin for too long. After every argument they had, Jordan turned into a punching bag, and when she got helpless, Richard got more triggered. He believed he was the king of the castle, and Jordan was supposed to clean up after Richard. She also took care of everything in the house and made sure their child was doing well in school. Jordan's mother was concerned that she would bury her daughter if Richard didn't keep his behavior in check and stop harassing her daughter. Dr. Phil tried to make Jordan understand that she deserved better than the violation she endured, and she had to make difficult life choices. Thanks for watching, and have an excellent day.